modern day strongman?
Well, for a while there, I thought that, God, you got to be that big to win. But then Martins came and showed them that you don't have to be so big.
Yeah,
to win.
and what's his body weight?
He's still big.
Yeah, but
340.
Oh, okay.
340.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably more, 340, 6'3", 340. So he's not that. I mean, he's big, but.
Would you like to see any changes to the sport so that guys, don't have to be over 350 pounds? Or do you kind of like the way that it's set up?
I think it's okay. I think what one of the big problems, they're bigger because you have more food, you have more things to do, and people are specializing on it earlier, and bigger, more talented people are coming into the sport. So that's one of the things. But it shows just the fact that Martins can win the world's strongest man and get second at the Arnold is that you don't have to be that big. I mean, it's kind of. But when I was competing at world's strongest man level. I think that I was, 299, 300 pounds most of the time, and that was pretty much the average. There were some people that were smaller, and there were some people that were bigger. I think one of the things that I like to see come back is that they are stop or start again using events where you need to have grip strength. Like, not that grip strength is the most important, but I think grip strength kind of normalizes things a bit. There's no drugs that are going to make you stronger grip, in my opinion anyway. Maybe there is, but I don't.
It's not about your body weight, and actually,
and it's not about your body weight either. So so if you have at least one of the events out of 5 or 6 events, it involves grip strength. It kind of normalizes and make it more, less extreme in that sense.
Do you know why they got rid of that, or they?
No, it is just it goes in waves. I mean, a lot of the events they have in competition we started. I mean, like the axle lifting and stuff like that. It was something that I started in my contest, and then everybody else started doing it. And then, it goes in cycles. Somebody else come up with a good event, and people do it. And then it depends on the promoter, what the events they put in there. And sometimes if they feel like I have a weak grip, because a lot of people lifting weights are still a weak grip because they use straps all the time and never even focus on it. They say, but take that out, so you don't need to worry about that part.
What's happened with the deadlift over the last few years? Because you're mentioning that Martins does around a 900-pound deadlift, but the deadlift really exploded. Like a common deadlift for strongman, I would say maybe like 5 or 8 years ago was like 800, and it was a little more uncommon to see 900, and you weren't really seeing now. Yeah, now it's like I think there's been 4, 5, 6, 7 guys to hit up over 1,000 pounds. And
what has happened is that over the last 5 to 8 years, they started having a deadlift in every strongman competition. It's become like beside stones is the main event, and to some degree that's unfortunate, but it's been great for us for deadlifting. I think he has this, deadlifting is just unbelievable. Where the level of deadlifting has gone to. That's because they train it all the time, and but I think it does require a special body type to be really good in it. I mean, some people do much better on the deadlift. At my best, maybe 750 in a conventional deadlift. But if you put the side handles on, 900 pounds would be no problem for me to lift because of my belt.
Right, and then somebody like you mentioned, Glenn Ross earlier. Someone like him, he might struggle a little bit more with something like a deadlift. If you're shorter framed and thicker, it might be a little more difficult. Yeah. Right.
He didn't, but
He was,
he was a big deadlifter too.
Yeah. He was pretty good on not pretty good. He was amazing with the setup that they used to have at the Arnold with the Hummer tires.
Yes.
They don't really do that one as much anymore. I haven't seen that one in a little while.
And even his deadlift, though, he didn't lose his positioning when he was doing that. Like, you notice. I don't know if it's maybe because of his height, but a lot of the other strongmen, like their hips are leaving him when they start. But his deadlift was so good. Yeah. How about like for a lot of like maybe undersized strongmen that are listening to this, and they want to be like Martins, or they want to be able to, compete against bigger individuals, is there anything special that they need to think about in their training, or they just need to work hard?
Well, they need to work hard, obviously,
of course.
but I think that less is more sometimes, and if they're smart and learn the events better technically, there's always mechanical advantages to a lot of things. Now, Martin's weakness, or he considered his weakness, is overhead. But at Arnold's, he get 2 reps at 450 on the log.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I mean, and win it. It ties with all the other guys. So, but a lot of times you'll see him doing more technique on the log, because he doesn't have the press, or just the regular the static press of some of the other guy, like Thor, half Thor, for example. He uses no technique. I mean, I think his overhead could be so much higher if he actually learned how to do properly. But he's so strong, he still win without doing it live.
Yeah.
But you could see it in training when he and Martins trained together. They were the super heavy. I think there was a log. They were doing log lifting with maybe like 370 or something like that, and they're doing reps and doing sets. And I think they were supposed to do five reps on 5x5 almost on it. I think that's what they were doing. I could be wrong, but it was something like that. And Martins, easily did 5 reps, and then Thor barely could do the first set with 5 reps, because he's just pressing it, and it's very not very efficient. And then the next set, Martins does the same thing, and the next thing, and next set, and Thor's performance steadily went down, because he was all depending on his strength and not using any technique.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that people can get from that, because like you said, he's not doing heavy work all the time, but his technique, and Andrew and I, we were on Martin's Instagram yesterday, and I was looking at his lifts, and it's just the way he moves. You can just tell that he just moves so well for the size that he's carrying. He moves like he's 100 and something pounds as a weightlifter, but it's crazy how good his technique is.
Yeah, that's if you're smaller, you got to be better.
Yeah.
And in strongman, you can be just as good as anybody else. I think that.